considering the Brahmanas to be in the highest position is your example for teaching others. Actually, you are the supreme worshipable deity, not only for the goods but for the Brahmanas also. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. There are undoubtedly many demigods, the chiefs of whom are Brahma and Shiva. Lord Vishnu is the Lord of Brahma and Shiva. Not to speak of the uh, Brahmanas in this material world. As mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord is very favorable towards all activities performed according to Brahminical culture of the qualities of control the senses and mind, cleanliness, forbearance, faith in the scripture, and practical and theoretical knowledge. The Lord is the super soul of everyone. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord is the source of all emanations. Thus, he is also the source of Brahma and Shiva.
Very
So,
good.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Yeah, so now Brahmaji said that Lord Sri Krishna, he is the supreme director of all the Brahminical culture, and he considered to be the highest position, and so that way he teaches, and and in purport, Srila Prabhupada ji said that in Brahma Samhita also stated that Brahmaji said the supreme person is the cause of all causes, and he is the chief of all the demigods, and all the demigods like Brahma and Shiva, all the chief demigods. He is the lord of all the demigods. So yeah, and also in the Bhagavad Gita also says that Lord Sri Krishna is the favorable for all the Brahminical culture and the qualities of the control of senses and mind, and so he is the source of everything. Yeah, that's all, Mati.
Hmm. Yeah, so basically they are saying actually that you are glorifying Brahmanas, but actually you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what exactly Krishna did. And that this point here, that here, so this what he is saying is, what they are saying is to set an example for teaching others. You are doing it for teaching others, to give proper respect to Brahminical culture. So that's the point. That's what Krishna is doing actually, teaching by his example. All right, so let's continue. Verse 18, someone wants to read?
I can read Mataji.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sid Prabhu, you read the next one, okay?
No worries.
Let him read Mataji if he wants to.
Okay, Sid Prabhu, you want to read this one, and next one, Kirti Kumari Mataji can read.
I don't mind.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm reading. Tatava Sanatano Dharmo Raksayat Tanubhiz Tava Dharmasa Paramo Guhayo Nirvakaro Bhavan Mata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. You are the source of eternal occupation of all living entities. And by your multi-manifestations, the personalities of Godhead, you have always protected religion. You are the supreme objective of religious principles. And in our opinion, you are inexhaustible and interchangeable eternally. Reports. The statement in this verse, Dharma Saya Paramo Gayaha, refers to the most confidential part of all religious principles. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion of Lord Krishna and his advice to Arjuna is, give up all other religious engagement and just surrender to me. This is the most confidential knowledge in executing religious principles. In the Bhagavatam, also it is stated that if one does not become Krishna conscious after very rigidly executing one's specified religious duties, all his labor in following so-called religious principles is simply a waste of time. Here also the sages confirm the statement that the Supreme Lord, not the demigods, is the ultimate goal of all religious principles. There are many foolish propagandists who say that worship of the demigods is also a way to reach the supreme goal. But in the authorized statements of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, this is not accepted. Bhagavad Gita says that one who worships a particular demigod can reach the demigod's planet, but one who worships the supreme personality of the Godhead can enter into Vaikuntha. Such propagandists say that regardless of what one does, he will ultimately reach the supreme abode of the personality of the Godhead. But this is not valid. The Lord is eternal, and the Lord's servitor is eternal, and the Lord's abode is also eternal. They are all described in the Sanatana, or eternal. The result of devotional service, therefore, is not temporary, as is the achievement of heavenly planets by worshiping the demigods. The sages wanted to stress that although the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, says that he worships the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, actually the Lord is worshipable not only by the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, but also by the demigods. Haribol.
Haribol, you want to say something?
Yes. You know, what we're saying here is that the don't worship demigods. Worship the personality of the Godhead instead. And there's a lot of people who say, you can worship demigods too, or worship demigods. But this is not, according to Prabhupada, this is not the correct path. And that's what I have to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically this, they are glorifying Krishna, they are understanding what is the position of the Supreme Lord, and they are speaking, actually, you are the source of everything. You are the worshipable object, actually. You are that, so here, you are the supreme objective of religious principles. And this is very interesting here. You are the source of the eternal occupation of living entities. Eternal, what is the eternal occupation of the living entity? Is to serve the Supreme Lord, right? And that's what this dharmasya paramo guhyaha. So basically, the most confidential religious principles. He is the one, and he protects that, and he time to time. So this verse is kind of, some part of the verse is like that one. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य, right? That one, 4 point. So, and the other one also, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So this part of the verse is saying, by your multi manifestations of personalities of Godhead, you have always protected religion, right? So that's what it is saying. And they are saying that he is the worshipable object. the supreme, not the, just like Sid Prabhu, you said, not to worship the demigods, but the Supreme Lord Krishna we should worship, and that's what it is he's saying here. And and then here Srila Prabhupada is paraphrasing those verses from Bhagavad Gita, that Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tam Sarvapapebhyo Moksheshami Ma Shucha. So you abandon, just surrender to me. I am the true object for surrender, basically, because all the religious principles are coming from me. And that is what it means, that you take shelter of me. And then Bhagavatam in first canto, second chapter, Dharam Swanushtistasya tas, what is that? Dharam Swanushtistasya Samsit, that one. Yadi ratim shrame vehi kevalam. That verse Prabhupada is quoting, that if we don't get that attraction for serving and hearing about the Supreme Lord, then it is useless labor, right? Dharam swanushtishtha pumsa vishwakshena kathasu yaha na utpadyati ratim shramevi kevalam. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that the occupation that we do, it should invoke in us that mood of service and hearing about the Supreme Lord. And that's what here also, that he is the source of eternal occupation of all living entities. That is our true occupation. All other occupations that we do, if it does not attract us to Hari Katha, then it is useless labor, basically, right? Yeah, and whatever we do, so it's a false propaganda that no matter what religious principle we follow, no matter which demigod we worship, but we can reach Vaikuntha. That's impossible. Srila Prabhupada in his Upanishad, he gives this example. If I buy the ticket for Calcutta, I cannot reach Mumbai, right? I will reach Calcutta only. So similarly, if I worship some demigod, so I can reach their planet only. I cannot reach the Vaikuntha planet, basically, right? Yeah. Says that he worshipped the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Actually, the Lord is worshipable not only by Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, but also by the demigods. So basically, the Lord is the worshipable object of all, no matter whether somebody is a demigod, or even though the Lord is saying that I worship Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And he does, to set an example. And they are so dear to him. That's what Krishna says in in Bhagavad Gita also. He says that a devotee who has given himself to me, I am in him and I can never leave him. And in the chapters in Bhagavatam in 9th canto, the exchange with Durvasa Muni and Amrish Maharaj, he says that Aham Bhakta Pradino, I am completely purchased by my devotees. I am completely dependent on my devotees because they don't want anything but me. So I am completely theirs. Yeah. And to Vasudev Datta, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Vasudev Datta said that you can you can give all the reactions of all the living entities, bad karma, to me, and I can, Vasudev Datta says this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I can go in hell again and again and again, lifetime, for millions and billions of lifetime, but relieve all others. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you have purchased me, Vasudev Datta. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. You have purchased me by being so kind and merciful, by being so compassionate to others for their suffering. Yeah, all right, let's continue. Verse 19, someone wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yeah, good, keep in
Okay.
mind.
तरन्ति हे अज्ञानस्मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् योगिना स भगवान् किं स्वाद अनुग्रह हेत यत् परे. Translation interpreted by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mystic and transcendentalist, by the mercy of the Lord, cross beyond necessities by raising all material desire. It is not possible, therefore, that the Supreme Lord can be favored by others. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unless one is favored by the Supreme Lord, one can cross over the ocean of the nations of repeated birth and death. Here it is stated that yogis or mystic cross beyond necessities by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many kinds of mystic, such as the Karma Yogi, Gyan Yogi, Dhyan Yogi, and Bhakti Yogi. The Karma Yogis particularly search after the favor of the demigods. The Gyanis wants to come one with the supreme absolute truth, and the yogis are satisfied simply by partial vision of the supreme personality of Godhead, Paramatma, and ultimately by oneness with him. But the bhaktas, the devotee, wants to associate with the supreme personality of Godhead eternally and serve him. It is already been admitted that the Lord is eternal, and those who want the favor of the supreme Lord particularly are also eternal. Therefore, yogis here means devotee. By the mercy of the Lord, devotee can easily pass beyond the nations of the birth and death and attain the eternal abode of the Lord. The Lord is therefore not in need of another's favor because no one is equal to the greater than him. Actually, everyone needs the favor of the Lord for successful understanding of this human mission. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, you want to say something?
Just little bit Mataji. So here is mentioned that by the mercy of Supreme Lord, one can cross over the oceans of repeated birth and death, and there are mentioned like there are many kinds of mystic like Karma Yogi, Gyan Yogi, Dhyan Yogi, and Bhakti Yogi. But mm, Bhakta is the Bhakta, and devotee is the best among of them because he always wants to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they want to serve him because he know that he is eternal. You know, so that's all, Mataji.
Yeah, so basically, I think they are responding to when the Kumaras were saying, right, that I am the Lord was saying that because of the devotees, I have all the qualities that I have, right? In previous verses when the Lord was speaking, I think it was verse number, let me see. Yeah, I'm the servitor of my devotees. My lotus feet have become so sacred that they immediately wipe out all sins. So here, this is verse number 7. So in verse number 7, the Lord said, here. So yeah, here he said, the Lord continued, because I am the servitor of my devotees, my lotus feet have become so sacred that they immediately wipe out all sin, and I have acquired such a disposition that the goddess of fortune does not leave me. I mean, this is the first part basically, that because of his serving the devotees, that's why he's getting these qualities. That's what the Lord is saying. They are saying that here now, because all transcendentalists, whatever they get, it is because of the Lord's mercy. So it is not possible that somebody can do any favor to you because he has everything. He is the source of everything. So that's what the Lord, they are defeating his arguments basically. Yeah, so it's just, yeah, Krishna, without Krishna's mercy we cannot attain, whether it's karma, a result of karma, or it's perfection in jnana, or it's Dhyan Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. We need the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Without His mercy, we cannot even fulfill our karmic. I mean, because, karma yogi, people who requires result for their activities, karma kanda, they worship the demigods, but the results are sanctioned by the Supreme Lord. Even though they are worshipping the demigods, but actually the result is sanctioned by the Supreme Lord. Demigods don't have anything to give. They also get it from the Supreme Lord, right? So ultimately, even though they are worshipping demigods or impersonal Brahman or the Paramatma, everything is sanctioned and given by the Supreme Lord. That's what they are saying here, that it's only by your mercy. It's not that you are getting somebody's favor. For our own interest, we serve. In many purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, just like when we are serving the deities, we are decorated with the good qualities. So it's for our own interest that we are serving the deities or the Supreme Lord. He doesn't need anything from us. Yeah, everything is His basically. For our own interest, we are serving Him. Yeah. All right. Should we continue or somebody wants to add something?
But I need one clarification, Mother.
Yeah.
Why does Srila Prabhupada say that the yogis are satisfied simply by the partial vision? We understand that, but then he says ultimately by oneness with him.
Yeah. So here, and the yogis are satisfied simply by partial vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, and ultimately by oneness with Him. So it could be that they are, so those who meditate on Paramatma, the yogis, they can either worship him as an impersonal Brahman or
Or a
a
devotee.
or a personality of Godhead who has a form, right? It
Okay, so
depends on
their
the
perception.
consciousness of the yogi.
Okay, only in their maturity then they'll become devotees. Otherwise, they're still stuck in.
I mean, if they are meditating within their heart, if they are considering the super soul as impersonal, then they are this oneness with him. But if they are considering him to have a form, then they will go to the next stage of becoming a devotee and serving.
But if they meditate on the Paramatma, Paramatma is a form of the Lord. So most of them would meditate on the form, not the
But I
Paramatma.
remember hearing about this topic that these yogis who meditate on Paramatma, where do they go? I remember reading or hearing from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. It depends on the consciousness of the yogi, whether they are focusing on the impersonal Brahman or they are focusing on they are considering Paramatma to be like an expansion of the Bhagavan who has form.
Okay.
So it depends on their consciousness completely, intention and consciousness.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's continue. I think, we can do maybe, this is small words we can do. Someone wants to read?
Yeah, Mataji, I can read.
Mm.
Yam vai vibhutir upayatya anuvelam anayer artharthibi swashirashadrita padarenuhu dhanyarpitangri tulasi navadamadhamno lokam madhuvratapater eva kamayana. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, the dust of whose feet is worn on the head by others, waits upon you as appointed, for she is anxious to procure a place in the abode of the king of bees, who hovers on the fresh wreath of tulsi leaves offered at your feet by some blessed devotee. Purport. As previously described, Tulsi has attained all superior qualities due to being placed at the lotus feet of the Lord. The comparison made here is very nice. As the king of bees hovers over the Tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, so Lakshmi, the goddess who is sought by the demigods, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and everyone else, always engage in rendering service to the lotus feet of the Lord. The conclusion is that no one can be the benefactor of the Lord. Everyone is actually the servant of the Lord. Haribol.
Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, Mataji. So again, here the Lord has mentioned saying that He's not attached to Lakshmi in the past in verse number 7, saying even though everybody wants Lakshmi and he is not, he's a perfect renunciate and he has no attachment for her in the sense that he's not after money because he's the source of everything. Here, the Kumaras are saying that the goddess Lakshmi is waiting upon the Lord, and because she wants to be in the abode in the Vaikuntha, just like the bees are hovering around the lotus feet on the tulasi leaves, which are on the lotus feet of the Lord. And Prabhupada mentions how important the tulasi leaves are. We also saw how the tulasi leaves were responsible for making the Kumaras personalist from impersonalist, because they were able to attract the hearts of the Kumaras. And the most important part where the Lord was saying that because because he's serving the devotees, his feet have become so purified that it washes away all sins. So the Kumaras are defeating that he doesn't need anything because he's the source of everything, and nobody can favor or be the benefactor of the Lord. Basically, Krishna is the source of everything, and everybody is a servant or the servant of the Lord. Yeah, Mataji.
Yeah, and then because here after that they said, right, wipe out the sin, and I have acquired such a disposition that the goddess of fortune does not leave me. Because of all that, he has acquired that fortune. But here they are saying that actually she's anxious to secure a place in the abode of kings of bees. Yeah, amazing, amazing. All right, so we are switching to Bhagavad Gita now. Yeah, anybody wants to say anything?